So many people say, I already know my passion. But the truth is most people are just scared that it's not practical enough. See, you get talked out of it by people who gave up on their dream. And now you're confused. Like their fear becomes your truth. See, the longer you pretend that you don't know what your purpose is, the more your life will feel like a to-do list instead of a calling. See, passion doesn't erase resistance in your life, but what it does is it gives you the reason to push through the challenges and all the drudgery that comes with it. See, if you think about it, the reason for a goal isn't to achieve the goal. The reason for a goal is to cause you to become the person who can achieve the goal. Passion doesn't mean that you're not going to have challenges. It means that you have a reason to go through them. When I first built my business, I was 22 years old. I was a high school dropout, but I believed that if I loved it enough, that I'd never procrastinate. But every single day, there were parts of me and parts of that job that I dreaded doing. Back then, see, I thought that meant that I was on the wrong path because, I wasn't in love with it every day. You're not going to be in love. You can be passionate about something and hate parts of it. That's for sure. Now I know that resistance for me, it's not a signal for me to quit. It was proof that I was actually stretching myself into something that mattered, that I was stretching myself to become somebody better than who I was. If you only chase the fun part of your dreams, you'll quit before you ever reach them. It's like surfing. You don't get to get on the wave without paddling against the current. There's always the paddle, those phone calls that you don't want to make, the details that you don't want to deal with, the reps that you got to get in to be really good. They're not just part of the ride, they are the ride. See, expecting the wave without the work of the paddle, you know what it does is it robs you. And not being willing to go through the challenging times as a sales pro will rob you of your passion before you ever really get a chance to master the art. See, the most meaningful work still demands discipline. Discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and then follow through with it. Look, some days you're going to run towards your dream. Other days, you're going to have to drag yourself to the desk. Again, that's not proof that, you're in the wrong field. It's proof that you're human and that the work really matters enough for you to keep doing it, to pay the price. If you think about, that's what sacrifice is. The law of sacrifice is very clear. The law of sacrifice tells us that you have to be willing to let go of something of a lesser value for the attainment of something of a greater value. But it's not about trading. It's not about, giving up, sitting on the couch and binge watching Netflix or going to the gym. It's not trading one for another. It's about defining your life. What is of higher value? See, your willingness to endure all that unglamorous work, that's the real test of your dream. That's the price you pay. And if you're only committed to it when it's easy, then you're committed to comfort, not purpose. See, passion gets revealed to us in the moments when you're ready to quit. It gets revealed to us in the moments that you choose to keep going. Here's what I know. You will never outperform the way you see yourself, the self-concept that you hold. Our self-concept is made of two things. First, our self-image. That's the image we hold of ourselves, how we see ourselves, and how we believe the world sees us. For me, I believe people saw me as a high school dropout going nowhere, with no hope, with no potential. The other part of this self-concept is our self-esteem. That's our self-identity. It's my self-value, how I value me and how I believe you value me, what my self-worth is. The composite of those becomes a self-concept, and we never outperform that. See, when I started in business, I tried to wear the identity of this big business guy. I was trying to go out and look impressive, but it really wasn't me. I had to borrow it from what I thought success would look like because I had no image of what me and success looked like. I had images of me of a failure, and I had images of what success was, but I never had an image of me being successful. See, the labels you wear can very easily become the limits that you live under. If you tie your self-worth or your self-identity to some role, ROLE, you'll push away anything that doesn't fit that mold, even if it's the very thing that you were built to do. See, other people can often see your gifts. They can see your talent. They can see your potential, even if you've forgotten them or never knew them. When I finally asked people close to me what they saw in me, I was shocked. See, they didn't talk about my business wins. They didn't talk about the successes and achievements I had. You know what they talked about? It was my ability to connect with people, my ability to take complicated things and make it simple and within grasp for people, to be able to teach people, my ability to inspire people to believe in themselves. See, I had been blind to the value of those gifts because I was chasing somebody else's definition of success. Here's what I know. The moment you stop performing for a certain image, you're free to put all of your energy to pursue the work that actually lights you up. And until then, what you're really doing is you're building a future for a version of you that doesn't even exist. Now look, before we go any further, I want you to download a guide that I created called the Belief Upgrade Guide. I created it for you. Before you can solve your passion and purpose problem, you have to resolve your own identity problem. See, if you're like I was, if you're still wearing labels that aren't yours, high school dropout, never amount to anything, stutterer, if you're taking on those roles, ROLES, that have been pushed on you by others, you'll never amount to anything without an education. You know what happens is your mind will habituate down. You'll keep rejecting the work that you're really meant to do. And what this guide will do is it will walk you through 10 identity level shifts that align who you are with what you're called to be. So your energy and the choices and your beliefs finally point in the same direction. That's called praxis, the integration of belief and action. Now, it takes minutes to complete the guide, but I believe it will give you the language and practices and prompts to move from I don't know to I'm clear and I'm certain. And remember, sales is the transference of certainty. And so if you lack certainty in your purpose and your calling, it's going to be really hard for you to transfer that to somebody else. So the link is right in the description below. Grab it now. My team put it right there, and then come right back to the video. See, your purpose and your passion is rarely about the topic. It's about the deeper reason driving you. It's the goal behind the goal, the question behind the question, right? QBQ, the question behind the question. Your past interests, all the things that you've been interested up until now. I was always interested in understanding human behavior. I always wanted to know what made people tick. All of those were cues and clues for me, but they're not my final destination. If you look back at the hobbies or jobs that you enjoyed, ask yourself, what part of that energized me? How did it feed me? Was it solving problems? Was it creating something beautiful? Was it leading people? Those threads, it's like stringing the beads together. They repeat. Even if the surface or the modality through which you express them changes. See, the skills you built just to survive don't always bring you satisfaction, do they? Just the grind or the hustle. If you confuse the two, you end up building a career that feels like a cage. Your energy is the most reliable compass you have. Your emotional state, your passion is like your GPS. When I ran a side project that looked perfect on paper, but it drained me every single day, I learned that energy is better measure of a fit than what the profit or the P&L was showing. Look, sometimes the money's good. Sometimes the money good. But even if the money is good, it doesn't mean it's aligned with your purpose and your passion. You don't want to sell out for money. You can make money doing anything. Once you understand money, Once you really understand money, and if you get in our course, our first syllabus is all about understanding money. Once you understand how money works, it's pretty easy. As a matter of fact, in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill says that when riches begin to come to you, they come so fast and so furious, you wonder where they were hiding all those lean years. But high energy activities act like magnets for opportunity. When you are following your internal guidance system, success comes to you. If you're working in alignment with your energy, people can't help but notice. They feel it. Your enthusiasm becomes contagious and doors open that would have never have opened before. Never. They would have stayed shut if you were trying to force your way through, because force negates. It drains you. So low energy work, it's not that it's always bad, but when you're in low energy work, man, you've got to manage your state all the time. You've got to try to bring yourself up and bring yourself up that's exhausting. The key is making sure that type of work doesn't dominate your schedule. It doesn't dominate your schedule. It doesn't consume you. So you should track, like, how do you feel before and during and after every single activity? And over time, you'll begin to see the patterns that tell you exactly where you need to lean into and exactly what you shouldn't be doing. In my business, everybody on my team knows I do this. I do the teaching. I do the connecting. I do the strategy sessions. That's where my passion is. That's where my purpose is. As a matter of fact, I own the company, but I'm not the CEO. I hire a CEO to do all the administrative things I don't want to do. I don't manage my own money. I have an accounting firm that manages all of my own money. They pay all my bills. I don't want to do that. See, when you start doing this, you'll never think your way into clarity. You never think your way into your passion. It's a feeling. See, I've never met anyone who discovered their passion and their purpose by sitting around and waiting for it to come to them. Clarity comes from doing, not from perfect planning. That's why Emerson said, do the thing, and then you get the energy to do the thing. You want to treat everything you try like an experiment. When you're an experiment, there's a level of anticipation, isn't there? There's a level of curiosity. When I started speaking and teaching, I just did something that I thought was, I'll give it a go. I tried it. I had no idea that what I'm doing right now, speaking and teaching and training, would become my life's work. I approached it with curiosity, not pressure. And that's what gave me room to grow. And when we get feedback, that's the tool that kind of keeps you on course. When people would say, wow, that was really good. Wow, you spoke to me. Wow, something you said impacted me. That was more value to me than money. Now, some experiments you do, they energize you. Others, they drain you. You should listen to both. See, your own response and the feedback from people that you trust is a great indication for you. You blend that with your own internal guidance system. You look at this and you say, okay, what fits? What works? What feeds me? And anything else, you release it to its highest good and you to yours. You should never, ever confuse a slow start with a dead end. Some passions take time to develop because the skills take time to develop. They take time to master. So give each experiment enough room to breathe before you decide that it's not for you, before you quit. Passion isn't something you stumble into. It's something that you uncover, and you uncover it by stripping away all of the false identities, following the little clues in your own energy, and committing to the process. Stay in that place of discovery. See, if you wait for the perfect resistance-free path, I'm going to tell you, you're going to miss the path, or you're going to be on a path that you weren't meant to walk. Start today. Your passion, it's already within you. It's just waiting for you to claim it. If any of this has landed for you, if any of this you can identify with, if it hits home, don't leave this video with inspiration. Leave with an upgrade. Download the Belief Upgrade Guide right now. It's the fastest way to replace old labels with stronger identity, and you can then carry that into your real work. And then I want you to watch the very next video, the Poverty Programming Trap, because what you're going to do is you're going to see how survival mode beliefs quietly sabotage all your best opportunities and how to break them with absolute certainty, because that becomes your new baseline. And guess what? You then start creating real results that are aligned with what you really want. Download that guide right now, and I'll see you on the next video.